Few child actors have had a life story as redemptive as iCarly's Jennette McCurdy. Though her TV days are over, her life was forever changed by the show, for better or sometimes worse. Becoming a child star was never an aspiration for Jennette McCurdy, but rather for her mother, Deborah. McCurdy alleged that it was her mom who had wanted to become an actor, but when those dreams didn't happen, Deborah relentlessly pursued that dream with her daughter. McCurdy's childhood home life was also troubled. She was homeschooled in a religious household, her parents constantly fought, and her mother was a compulsive hoarder. McCurdy said that most of the obsessive behavior was attributed to her mother's health at the time. In Jennette's infancy, her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. The actor said that her mother began living vicariously through her and sent McCurdy into the world of child acting. Deborah also routinely examined her daughter's body for signs of cancer, among other troubling behaviors that deeply traumatized McCurdy. It became difficult for the Nickelodeon star to challenge her mother's authority, as she would often remind McCurdy how lucky she was for her early success on iCarly. In her memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, McCurdy writes that Deborah would constantly tell her, "Everyone wants what you have." The pressure on Jennette McCurdy only got worse the more successful iCarly became. Desperate to keep up appearances on television, McCurdy's mother taught her to develop an eating disorder when she was only 11 years old. As McCurdy later recounted in a Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith, her mom was the one who encouraged her to restrict calories.
We were just in the disease, in the sickness, but there was a connection that the sickness created that I, of course, couldn't see at the time.
McCurdy's struggles with anorexia and bulimia followed her into iCarly and beyond. She was limiting herself to under 1,000 calories a day in an attempt to make her mom proud. Even after the death of McCurdy's mother, the eating disorder grew worse, with the actor at one point collapsing in co-star Miranda Cosgrove's bathroom. Many child stars from Disney Channel and Nickelodeon have attempted music careers after the success of stars Selena Gomez and Miley Cyrus. In her 2022 memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, McCurdy revealed that when iCarly was shut down due to the 2007 WGA strike, her mother pushed her into pursuing country music. In 2009, she signed a record deal with Capitol Records, turning down an offer from Taylor Swift's then-home label Big Machine Records. After releasing several singles and EPs, McCurdy released her debut self-titled album in 2012. But McCurdy's music career didn't last long, as the Nickelodeon star ended up leaving Capitol Records because of a commitment to her new iCarly spin-off show, Sam and Cat. McCurdy expressed regret over her country music days in her memoir, though the brief stint offered one huge shift in her life. Deborah's cancer returned, and McCurdy was able to go on tour without her. It was the first time the two were separated since McCurdy was a young child, but her solo excursion ended up creating more guilt for McCurdy. She told The Guardian in 2022, "God did it feel to feel relief that I'm going to be away from my mom for the first time, when my mom also was just diagnosed with cancer and was dying." Nickelodeon's iCarly ended its run in 2012, though Jennette McCurdy didn't stray far from the network in its immediate aftermath. In 2013, the actress starred in a spin-off series with Ariana Grande, Sam and Cat. When McCurdy initially signed on to the show, she was under the impression that it was meant to be a solo series for her character Sam Puckett. Nickelodeon instead redeveloped it to include Grande's character. While filming Sam and Cat, things started to spin out of Jennette McCurdy's favor at the network. She revealed in her memoir that Grande was consistently given preferential treatment on the program, missing entire weeks to pursue her music career. McCurdy was forced to turn down several film offers due to her contractual obligations to Sam and Cat, a standard Grande was not held to. McCurdy has since softened towards Grande in recent years. She told Vogue in 2022, "I'm able to look back on it and just see it as the comedy gold that it is, to be on set at 21 where you're just the most susceptible to jealousy and comparison that you can possibly be, and I'm there across from a burgeoning pop star of the day."
Is it that bad?
Nah, you barely notice it.
A good portion of Jennette McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, recounts her experiences with The Creator, a pseudonym for iCarly and Sam and Cat creator Dan Schneider. Schneider's behavior was common knowledge by the time of the book's release. Nickelodeon severed ties with him in 2018, and he has since been accused of verbal abuse and sexual misconduct. McCurdy's memoir only added fuel to the fire. She claimed that he intimidated her into underage drinking, among other inappropriate actions he committed towards her. She wrote, "The creator is doing the thing that I've heard from my co-stars he does with every new star of a show that he's making. He takes you under his wing. You're his favorite, for now." McCurdy began to rely heavily on alcohol due to the stress and abuse she was facing. She opened up about her relationship with alcohol for the first time in a 2020 episode of her podcast, Empty Inside. As if the treatment Jennette McCurdy faced from Nickelodeon on iCarly and Sam and Cat wasn't enough, the actor was also limited in her opportunities outside of the network. Aside from having to turn down movie offers due to Nickelodeon-related commitments, McCurdy instead began making appearances in similar projects on Nickelodeon. Her guest spots on other popular Nickelodeon shows included True Jackson VP and Victorious. While her frequent appearances got her nominations at the Teen Choice Awards and Kids' Choice Awards, there was little career benefit the older she got. It wasn't until after iCarly and Sam and Cat were over that McCurdy branched out to more serious roles. She appeared in the 2016 thriller Pet, and most notably the Netflix drama Between, in which she starred for 2 seasons. In 2018, she made her directorial debut with a short film, Kenny, which premiered on YouTube's Short of the Week. McCurdy was especially proud of the project, having assembled an all-female crew to help her make it. McCurdy didn't have the benefit of leaving Nickelodeon on good terms. She stated in her memoir that the network offered her $300,000 to stay quiet about her experiences with Dan Schneider. Though she ultimately turned the hush money down, she briefly regretted the decision. These days, she's proud that she chose the path of morality rather than caving to the network that exploited her. The death of Jennette McCurdy's mother, Deborah, was a pivotal moment in the young actor's life. Her mother died in 2013, just 3 years after receiving word that her cancer had returned when McCurdy was only 21 years old. Even without the monumental figure in her life controlling her every decision, it took years before McCurdy could reconcile with the damage done. McCurdy believes the kind of healing she was able to do wouldn't be possible with her mother still alive, stating that therapy wasn't an option at the time. Even when she finally started to seek help, it was a long road to figure out how she really felt. She recounted on The View that it was tough going to the first therapist she saw.
Where she said, you know, what you're describing is abuse, and I left. I quit therapy. I couldn't tolerate the idea, the notion that my mom was abusive.
McCurdy takes great pride in her ongoing mental health journey, which she credits to unpacking years of emotional and psychological abuse at the hands of her mother. In 2014, Sam and Cat was canceled after 1 season, ending Jennette McCurdy's 7-year tenure on Nickelodeon. A lifetime's worth of trauma had occurred to the actor during that time, but within a year, she would make the first steps towards shaping the rest of her career. McCurdy began with creating, writing, and starring in her own web series, What's Next for Sarah? The autobiographical 4-episode show finds McCurdy playing Sarah, whose hit tween TV show is canceled, throwing her life in disarray as she tries to figure out what to do next. The cast of What's Next for Sarah starred many Nickelodeon friends of McCurdy's, including Mary Scheer, Shane Topp, and Danielle Morrow. The show was McCurdy's first opportunity to grapple with what her career in entertainment has meant on her own terms. She's continued to write and create art about what's happened to her, while simultaneously pursuing a career that has kept her far away from her Nickelodeon past. There are one too many stories in Hollywood of child actors being taken advantage of by the adults in their lives. McCurdy was no different, given the extreme control exerted on her life and career by her mother. While McCurdy's acting success was a fulfillment of her mom's lifelong dream to be a star, there was also a practical purpose for it. Through her acting gigs, Jennette became the breadwinner of her family, supporting her parents, grandparents, and 3 older brothers. But McCurdy didn't receive any of the money she earned working as an actor. Her Coogan account, which is meant to shave off 15% of the salary a child actor makes into a savings account, was never properly filed. As a result, McCurdy is unaware of what happened to all of the money or where it went, but it's believed to have been stolen by her mom. McCurdy's hard work paid off in other regards later in life. In 2022, she released her New York Times best-selling memoir, all about the abuse she suffered from her mother. McCurdy confirmed that her older brothers were in favor of her decision to speak out. She told The Hollywood Reporter, "My brothers have been so supportive, so understanding, they get the title, to put it simply." In 2020, McCurdy debuted her first one-woman show, I'm Glad My Mom Died, which was her most vulnerable work to date. She was initially hesitant about performing the show herself, though she eventually realized that only she could tell her own story. The stage show ran only for a few months at the start of 2020 before the COVID-19 pandemic shut down live theater. During the pandemic, McCurdy continued the conversations about her past on her podcast series Empty Inside. With guests like Anna Faris, Mike Birbiglia, and Daniel Sloss, she opened up about her mom, her relationship with alcohol, and her career. After reviving the one-woman show in 2021, she turned her story into a memoir in 2022. I'm Glad My Mom Died sparked lots of media attention as she came forward about the abuse she suffered from both her mother and Nickelodeon.
I think that anything worth saying is probably going to be divisive. I think if it's not divisive, there's probably no new conversation to be had there.
The book almost immediately sold out on online retailers and remained at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list for 8 weeks. McCurdy has since signed a new deal to write books for Penguin Random House. She told the New York Times, "Felt like finally I'm saying my words and saying things I want to be saying. I'm myself." McCurdy's life has been quite the roller coaster ever since she was first cast on iCarly in 2007. Though she's been through a lot of unimaginable tragedy and harrowing trauma, McCurdy has come out on the other side stronger and braver. In 2021, Paramount Plus made the decision to reboot iCarly, bringing back Miranda Cosgrove, Nathan Kress, and Jerry Trainor to re-inhabit the characters they had last played in 2012, but McCurdy said no thank you. She described in her memoir that Cosgrove contacted her personally to invite her to reprise the role of Sam Puckett. Despite Cosgrove's encouragement, McCurdy refused to return, not wanting to retread the experience that caused her so much pain throughout her life. Nathan Kress later addressed McCurdy's absence on his own podcast, Radioactive Dads, saying, "I think it's just a personal decision and where she's at and what she wants to do." McCurdy has stated that she doesn't miss the experience of being on iCarly one bit. She knows she's plenty busy with her book deals, her new podcast, Hard Feelings, and her plans for writing and directing. If you or anyone you know may be the victim of child abuse or sexual assault, contact the relevant resources below. The Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD, 1-800-422-4453, or contact their live chat services.